Go.
Hello and welcome to the Division 2 podcast for Bahrain and China. You are joined by your, spoiler alert, race winner in Bahrain, which is me, LOE Mark. I'm joined by Ivor and RJ today, who one was third, RJ, in Division 2, and by Ivor, who had the pleasure of commentating on the race. How are
Yep,
you guys?
and I'm good. I am.
Frustrated. But I'm alright, yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. It was a very interesting race. Um, I have watched it back numerous times. I'm sure you can imagine. So I can
Did
give a
you
very go on.
did you enjoy the final lap parade I gave you?
Yes, no, I did. I was very, very. Well, I was nervous, but we'll come on to that. What nearly did happen, but yeah, I suppose should we look at qualifying first because that will give us a bit of an interesting take on some one of the biggest, most unfortunate events actually, which was obviously with Caesar in first on those soft tyres, being head and shoulders above everyone as you'd expect with the
Yeah.
softs, and unfortunately ended up lagging out of the lobby at the worst time because it meant that the game didn't recognise his car going into the grid. So that was some lap from Caesar, but I suppose we can kind of talk about how that may have affected things. It enabled me and particularly Campbell to have a very clear run away from everyone else where I don't think we would have otherwise.
Yeah, I think the only two in the top 10 that were starting on the softs would have been Caesar and Army Tricks, who was in fourth.
Yeah.
And if you were able to defend for like the first three laps against Army Tricks when he had that initial advantage of the tires,
Hmm.
you were always going to be good to stay ahead of him.
Yeah, I think also though it would cause a bit of a concertina effect with Caesar eventually probably holding me and Campbell and pulling us back into the pack a little bit, which unfortunately didn't happen. But yeah, no, it was a very good lap from Caesar.
Yep, and there was one man who is actually in this party who didn't really set a very good lap, who was all the way
Let's not
down in
speak about it.
12th.
Let's not speak about this. I know exactly what
What,
happened.
What
what happened?
happened?
Um, which corner was it? Downhill corner S. That one. Turn 5, 6, 7.
Okay,
Um,
yeah,
Mm.
turned in too early for the right, bounced over the curb, so it put me out of line for the next corner. Took too much curb on the next corner, spun on my flying lap, and I was about 5, 6 tenths up in that first sector alone. So
yeah. Hmm.
that hurt me, that did. Not gonna lie. That mentally hurt me for the race.
Well, the
Maybe that
thing is,
meant
you weren't the only one that had a bad qualifying. Raikkonen, who wasn't able to actually set a lap at all in that session.
yeah, Lord knows what happened with him. That was crazy. To not be able to set any lap around Bahrain. It's not the easiest place to corner cut. So
I think
that
there's
was
only really turn two where you can really get a corner cut.
yeah. And on the hards, I guess you can get dragged out of turn 12 wide, and that light's invalidating your lap. It's not really a problem on the mediums or softs though, because you normally have enough grip to just fly around it. Um, yeah, really, really weird. Um, I was very chuffed to get second. Um, when I finished the lap, I was on provisional pole, and I didn't anticipate anyone going onto the softs. So I was chuffed to have beaten Campbell, but two very good laps there really from me and Campbell. Campbell in 27.8, and then a good 3 tenths clear of the next medium runner in fifth, which was Dan. And Army obviously slotted in between Campbell and Dan on those soft tyres. But that's a good result actually from Dan. Good qualifying spot from him. I didn't anticipate him being that high up, to be honest.
Hmm. I mean, it was a great lap from Dan, and I thought it was going to be interesting because in the last podcast you had a little bit to drink, and he was like, "I'm beating every single D3 lad is in D2."
Uh,
I was I was hoping that would come back to bite you.
I don't know. Dan and Coco get a lot of plaudits, as do Morgan and Bones, and me and Bree, and me and Wave get forgot sometimes. So just a little chip on our shoulder, just to
Just gonna
put some
say,
respect.
you are an original Div 2 driver. So
Um,
you
yeah.
went in Div 3,
That's it
but
then.
you were the
He's
top guy
fake
in Div
D3.
3 at that point.
He's fake D3.
There wasn't a Div 3 when I was in Div 2.
Yeah,
Let's get that clear.
yeah, but you were one of those drivers when Div 3 was created that was borderline Div 2, maybe Div, like you were in that region where,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. No, we were. Well, we were. A lot of us were going to be in D2.
yeah,
Um, I forget exactly how it was going to happen, but I think it was going to be me, Wave, and a couple of others as well. That you wouldn't, but Coco was going to be. No, Robert was going to be in D2. Coco was going to be in D3. It was really strange, but yeah, that was yeah. I don't know. So I've always been in the bottom. I've always been in the bottom division except the last 2 seasons.
mm.
Can I ask as well? Have you managed to get a pole yet in League of Europe?
In D2, maybe. Maybe if I did something funky with the tyres. I've definitely got poles in D3. Not that many though. I'm normally not the best at 1 lap pace. So, but, but no, I don't know. I don't think I've got a pole in D2 before. And this was
Don't,
kind of a de facto pole.
So that's got to be your aim for China
God no. God no.
then. That's the only thing you got to tick off your bucket list now. You got your podium, you got your win.
I don't think I'll be. Well, I could get a pole. I could probably go on the softs, couldn't I? I'd probably get a pole that way, but
do the Sarge
otherwise,
tactic.
otherwise no. Just hope for a safety car. Um, but yeah, no, there was some decent. I mean, there was some disappoint. I think that there was more noticeably disappointing results in some senses, like J. Cole in 10th in quali. Obviously, we spoke about RJ Tiggerby in 11th. Um, really weird to see those guys down there, and obviously we've mentioned Raikon. Um,
Bree and Bag of Bones as well, quite far down the order.
Um,
yeah.
yeah, but that was kind of like Bree's first real race of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he'll take a bit of time. I think he'll probably be attending a lot more in the
Like
second
it's
half.
like him and Ben. It was kind of just test the water. Where are we at?
Yeah, and that was interesting from Ben, otherwise known as Tin Can, from last season. Obviously, he was pretty quick around here last season, but he's not really played the game, so he will get pacier. He will definitely get pacier. But I suppose we go. We need to. I think we need to go on to the race really and just talk about some of the weird and wonderful events. There wasn't much trouble on lap 1, was there? That I saw.
I'm I'm literally just looking back at it now on the stream, just to make sure.
I can't remember anybody having a moment. Or if they did, it was very like they didn't spin out and end up like 20
Well,
seconds behind or anything. It seemed very solid
oh,
as a
Dan,
gap.
Dan.
Yeah, Dan went down to the back. Yeah, the
Mm.
spin.
Yeah, not a good race for him.
I think, to be honest, that's more a bit of wheel banging more than actual contact because I think he was side by side with someone in turn two, and there was a little bit of a wheel banging on the exit, and he might have just clipped that curb and just spun it.
Yeah. The one thing that I'll say, I think one of the reasons why pole here is so important is that you can almost guarantee to avoid an incident. If you there's kind of one factor into it. You just got to make sure that you go deep into turn one, not too deep, obviously, but and that way you
Yeah,
don't get
not
anyone pinging you on the
not my
apex.
levels are deep into turn one.
No, no. That was kind of my plan, just to go deep enough. As long as I had a gap, which I did, just to go a little bit deep, swing back in, and then be able to make the apex a turn two. And then I looked behind, and I think I was already like 7 tenths clear because Campbell had, um, well, I think he had Army with him, which wasn't particularly helpful because Army would always get a better start on those softs. Um, but yeah, that it seemed the race really kind of was a slow burner, wasn't it? It really unfolded gradually. With me and Campbell having about a second gap. I think I was just keeping him out of DRS initially, um, and then the midfield didn't. Well, I say the midfield, like the battle between second and seventh didn't really formalise until I think Raikon pitted um, for his mediums. Well, obviously, when everyone else went onto the hards, and then you could start to see how it was going to play out and what kind of crescendo it was going to play to, really, between him, Campbell, and RJ, and I think Sarja and Tom as well.
um, yeah,
Yeah,
no.
Tom was in a bit of a battle with Velocity for most of the race.
Yeah,
Just kind of dropping off the initial race pace that you and Campbell had at the start, and then with Raycon and RJ coming up through the field, and it was a
Yeah,
bit tricky for him.
I was about to say actually, not much happened in the first stint, but I know J Cole lost, well, kind of spun out of the hairpin at turn 8, and then the rest of the first stint was really no one moving except for me and Raikon trying to make our way back through the field.
Yeah, speaking
Wave
of that,
was
Raycon had a fantastic first lap, and that
Gained,
from last place up till
he was 11th.
pretty much the top 10.
I think he was 11th or 10th after at the end of lap 1, which is
I mean, that's
ridiculous.
insane.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of battles on lap 1 where not drivers got spun off like or anything, but they got pushed wide, and he took full advantage to it, and he placed his car exactly where he needed to. And
Yeah,
I've not really seen a much better start from anyone this season, at least.
no, and he was. It was interesting because I don't know how easy it was for you guys to get. Did you have to, you had to get past Sarja and Ton at some
Yeah,
point? I'm guessing.
yeah,
I don't know how easy that was because I think Tom was purposely playing rear gunner a little bit because I think I broke my wing before you approached them, and as did Campbell. I'm 90% sure that was the case. So I think he purposely was, as much as he could, holding them up, holding you guys up, but for his own race as well, not just for mine. But I think them two again. It seemed maybe we will forget that when we look back on this and you look back at the race. You just see Campbell fighting for his life later on. But I think them two also potentially would have held up you guys a little bit more than you'd have wanted.
I had no
I
challenge.
think another person that would have caused a few problems as well was Tiggerby, who started on the softs because he made massive progress at the start.
Um, no, I'll be completely honest. By the time Tigger beat it, I was nowhere near him. He'd gone.
Yeah.
No, I had a pretty simple time getting past Sarger. By the time I'd caught him, I'd got him down the straight, and Raikkonen was a few seconds behind because of the stop go he served. But Ton, I don't actually remember where I got past him. I don't think I got stuck behind him, but it definitely wasn't easy.
Yeah. I think the big incident that kind of made the race what it was, or certainly changed it anyway, was obviously me and Campbell breaking our wings in a bit of a train. You obviously saw that, Ivor. I didn't
Yep.
realise Campbell broke his wing. I didn't feel any contact at all. Hence why I kind of took it up the inside of quite. I was kind of all or nothing really. The move in the next corner to get past him. I thought I'd need to make a gap as quick as I can, and then I slowly realised I thought he actually broke it um, like half a lap later, trying to get past one of them or something. Um, but yeah, what was your take on that particular incident?
Honestly, I thought that was going to be the beginning of the end for you.
Yeah.
As soon as you broke that front wing, I was like, oh no, he's just going to drop back for the field now. Get the bottles ready. But it was actually Campbell that was losing a lot more pace with the front wing damage. I'm guessing he might have had like an orange wing and you a yellow or something.
Yes. Yeah, and he broke the right side,
No,
and I think
I
round
think
here,
I've been watching it now. He broke the left side.
the left side. Oh, I broke the right side. That was it. The left side's worse
Yeah,
because that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I suppose that impacts right hand corners more.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and there's way more right hand corners.
High speed anyway.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, he had the worst of that, definitely. My take on it is it's a kind of gold standard example of when you're approaching back markers, don't expect them to just fly out of the way. Um, they are an annoyance, but they don't have to get out the way through a double left-hander. There's a straight just after it. I got a bit greedy. They did break extra early. The person in front, I forget who. I don't want to say it was. I don't know which way around it was out of Bones and Big W. Which way around they were on track.
I'm just rewinding back to it now.
It was
It was Big
Big
W ahead of
W.
Bones.
Yeah.
He broke very early, but that's within his right. It wasn't like ridiculously early, and he just he didn't get around the corner quick enough. It seemed like he didn't get enough turn-ins, so it was
And
my
the thing
fault.
is, we say back markers. It was
Yeah.
for position, but it was the same kind of situation as well
Yeah.
happened in Australia with Tiggerby.
Apologies. Yeah, of course it was for position. Of course it was. And in that case, like, you just have to be patient. Like, and that's the thing as well. If you choose to take a suboptimal strategy, like, not that medium to hard was at all, but let's say you go out with softs in China, and all your army, all your Caesar, what Caesar would have done. You can't expect people just to let you through because you're not fighting on the same strategies, because you chose that strategy for it to benefit you.
Hmm.
In my view, I think the rest of the grid should punish you for trying to take a different line that you think is quicker. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, the other tricky thing as well is that Big W and Vagabonds were in their own little race as well. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, we know the guys behind have better pace right now. They're on a different strategy. They're basically a full pit stop ahead of us at this time, but I'm battling this guy right in front of me. I can't let off to let these
Yeah.
guys go because I gotta get him.
Yeah, and we was in the same boat as well. Like I think it was a perfect storm. I think if it was just me behind, I'd have probably laid off a little bit more. If it was just Big W in front instead of Bag of Bones, let's say, he probably would have not been. He probably may have let us go. I don't know. He may have. I don't know. But a bit of a perfect storm, and then that caused a lot of heartache. At that moment, I thought, this may be gone. I actually thought those guys were too far behind. I didn't even factor them in. I was like, oh, I've lost the race. I've come second. Rubbish. Um, and then I realised Campbell I was gaining time on Campbell, and then I just started to see the light blue and the even lighter blue lines of Rykon and RJ just start to sneak up, and obviously Tom as well. And just start to see them sneak up a bit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Tom kind of flew under the radar because he had a fantastic race. He just kind of flew under the radar of what was happening with everyone else.
Yeah, obviously I was in party with him, and he was very. I think he was just a bit down in the dumps there. He was a bit slower than me and Campbell a bit, but he was just plugging away. I could hear he was in battles all the time. He himself had an incident at the end, which he wasn't too chuffed about, where he sounded like he basically just torpedoed Sarja by accident.
Yeah. See,
Yeah, I
you
was
were in a
wondering what
you were in
happened because Sarja DNF'd.
you were in a party with Ton, so I was in a party with Sergeant. I don't
Yeah.
actually know what happened still. Sergeant threw his controller and walked out of the room.
Oh
Oh,
damn. Yeah, I think it was around the double left, and I think
Yeah.
Tom just. I think what may have happened. I don't really know how you DNF there though. It must have been serious. Like,
Well, I just saw
I don't
this.
know. I think you might have raged it.
I saw him. I saw him. Part like I saw him stopped on the minimap. I'm like, oh, oh god, he's been binned. What's happened here? And then I did because I can't see through my wheel. I can't see. So and so has retired. So I'm just like, okay, Sergeant, just start driving again. Get in your car. Like, get in your car. Drive to the finish line. Get some points. He's just there. Throws his controller.
That
I
was the
don't know
thing. He
what's
still would have got
happened.
some decent points.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he retired. What I feel has happened is Tyne hasn't got on the power as quickly as Sarge's thought, and Sarge's just gone into the back of him. I've seen weirder things lose wheels.
yeah,
So
I don't know. I literally, I don't actually know what happened. I was
yeah.
in the party just getting ready to celebrate, and all I could hear was Tom just be like, oh dear, that's not good. Oh man, I feel really bad. And then, yeah, that was that. But um, I suppose the other real big, the moment that it seemed like there was no way that you guys could catch was that free into turn one business with. I think it
Oh
was three
god,
laps.
that lap.
I think it was lap
We went
27.
we went three wide into that on two occasions. The first one, actually no, we weren't quite. No, the first one was where we were properly three wide, and I think that was lap 26. So for anyone that didn't watch the race, Campbell P2, broken wing. Me and Raikon, we're trying to chase him down, and it gets to a point where we're all bottlenecked together. And Campbell goes to the inside. He goes very, very defensive, and he's within his right to do that. I went right to the outside to try and swing round, and Raikon was a bit further behind, but Raikon went very late on the brake, so I'm turning into the corner. Campbell's got a clear run, but Raikkonen goes a bit later on the brakes. I'm turning in, and he hits me, and I'm effectively sideways at turn one, but managed to keep it going. Next lap, um, I'm chasing Campbell again with Raikkonen round the outside this time, and I know where to go. So Raikkonen gets round me and instantly gets past Campbell as well on the switchback. Um, so that was like that was the key move for P2.
And I think you got Campbell in the S's as well, didn't you? Just on the entry to it.
Out of turn four, he lost the back end, and I just managed to sneak past. So
Yeah. So it's the ramifications, really. Obviously, that it ended up finishing with Raikkonen in second, you in third. Who was fourth? Campbell was obviously fourth. And Tiggerby in fifth. That was a. He was really catching at the end. I saw that at the end of the stream, and I was thinking, there's a couple more laps. He could have
we
himself potentially caused some problems.
we were battling like hell though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, the amount of time those three were losing by battling pretty much everywhere and anywhere
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was if they don't get past Campbell on lap 27, Tigger B probably catches back to that at the end of that train
Well, he's
and
only a
joins that
second off
fight for like
Campbell
the last lap.
at the end.
Yeah. Well, that's it. He would have been quick towards the end, definitely. And then you had Bree, a very non-eventful race for Bree. Just flying around in seventh. Good result for his first race back, picking up some nice 6 points. Big W. Someone who has flirted with the idea of going down to Division 3. I don't think he needs to.
I think he's quite a solid driver.
Yeah,
I think
think
he's
he'll
a lot
improve.
better than he thinks he is.
Yeah, definitely. And
I mean, you think of it, he was battling Bag of Bones when you and Campbell basically caught up to him after your pit stop. And Bag of Bones finished way down the order, and Big W was still able to come back and pick up some points at the end of it.
this is it. And then obviously got Army in ninth and Velocity in 10th. Something must have happened to. We got loads of pens.
Yeah, the
I
load of
didn't
pens.
realise. Oh wow. Dan in 11th and Stan Starjar in 12th with Jake. I know had a moment towards the end. He ended up last of all the runners. That's not something he would have been too chuffed about.
Yeah,
Um,
I felt
And
pretty bad
just
for him
outside the
actually.
points as well.
Yeah,
yeah, very unusual from him. And then Sarja, Bones, and then Agony, and well, DNF'd, and obviously Caesar with the did not start. So very good result for well, the Haas team will be very happy. And I think that would have been. I don't think anyone would have walked out of there too happy other than me and Raikon, if I'm honest, and potentially maybe Brie.
yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I was struggling to pick a driver of the day because I wanted to give it to you because it was your first podium and the win, but I can't overlook Raikon's drive from last to second.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just, and for what it meant as well. It kept him ahead in the title race.
Pulled him away in the title
So
race.
this is it, and we're talking about Raikon versus Campbell. Raikon's on 53, and then RJ's on 42. So it's actually, and then Campbell's on 40 because he's had he had a terrible race in Hungary, and he won't have been too happy about his time over at Bahrain. And then Tiggerby's not too far off on 34. So interestingly, there's only, this is interesting, between the top four, I say only, there's only 6 podiums between the top 4 over the first 3 races. You'd think there'd be more than that.
That just goes to show how competitive D2 is at the moment.
Mm. Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely.
Because at any given moment, you could probably name at least 6 people that could get a podium every single race.
Yeah. Or
Well,
have the
this is it.
potential to. Yeah.
Hmm.
You think Bones has got a podium down in, and he's got 15 points,
Yeah.
like because he's had no return from the last two. Um, I think everyone in the top, which is interesting, everyone in the top 8 except Dan, who's had a fourth place. Everyone in the top eight's had a podium except Dan. So, um, yeah, it's crazy, really, really, really tight.
Yeah. I mean,
I wonder what that race done for the constructors as well,
oh,
with Haas picking up all those points.
I can check
They're
this.
still a long way. They're still a
Haas are
long way.
currently fourth. Um, but I think before the race, the gap at the top was non-existent. That both teams, Toro Rosso and Williams, were level.
Yeah,
And now Toro Rosso have a 7 point lead. So
yeah. I mean, it could all change within a race as well because Toro Rosso on 67, which is Raikkonen and Army, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
Williams, RJ, and Caesar. Ferrari, J. Cole, and Campbell, and then um, Haas with me and Tom, and then Mercedes, Tiggerby, and Cloudy. So all are all are I don't know. I think all are capable of getting podiums on their day in those 10. Some more likely than others, but you would probably favour the strongest team is probably RJ and Caesar.
Caesar's been very unlucky. And I have to actually, I will say this about every team. Obviously, in real life, we've had Mercedes who have nearly been flawless the whole way through, except from 1 or 2 races.
Hmm.
In Div 2, one driver's had normally in the team it's normally one driver that's had pretty good going, and the other
Hmm.
drivers had a lot of misfortune. And in some teams, it's both drivers who had a lot of misfortune. And my example for that one is the Racing Point, where um, I know Agony's had quite a few incidents, not really of his own making, and Stan has been Stan's been there and thereabouts, but not always in the points he probably deserves. So there are quite a few teams that are not where they should be. To put it that way.
Yeah, and I think well, I don't know what it is about the next 6. I'm going to just say the next 6 races. They are chaotic. Like China, rain, Baku, barriers, Spain, that horrible curb. Well, there's a
Can
couple of horrible curbs at Spain.
can we put Canada into that as well?
I mean, like, well, yeah, but I mean, specifically just like the next 6 on the
Yeah.
calendar that we have. Like, Canada's a long way.
Is it?
Well, it's not.
No, it's
Yeah, it's not.
yeah.
No, it's 10th race of the season.
Yeah. So it's the next 7. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no, it's there. Monza, difficult as well. There's loads of people snap their wing around there all the time. Monaco, Russia, I don't know. Russia's probably okay. But they all have their challenges,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of room for things to go horribly wrong and horribly right. So I don't think you can actually discount anyone in the top 5 doing quite well. Top 7 actually, really, including Caesar. I'd say all have a. I think the top 7 all have a chance to finish top 5.
Yeah. So I mean, as long as
It's,
Baku's chaotic, I don't care.
Just want to say apologies for the lacking out there.
but I don't know with China. Terrible race, worse version than Malaysia. Don't like it. It's like a bad Malaysia.
I hate Malaysia.
I loved Malaysia.
I hated it on the game.
it was fun to drive though. Like the tire temps were a nightmare. The tire wear was a nightmare. I say no, there wasn't. Yeah, the tire wear was a nightmare. I should say. Um, but I don't know. I just don't. I don't get excited for China. I just don't. I just. It also seems incredibly. I don't know. There's not. There's the first sector. There's a hairpin. There's a. I don't know. It just seems like the worst bits of like Silverstone and Malaysia to me.
Well, there's only one thing I'm kind of looking forward to because I think it'd really shake up D2 if we get a bit of changeable conditions at China.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be gone.
I mean, I am looking forward to that.
Wave will be very, very quick in the rain. He's good in the rain. Wotan. I don't know. I think I've done about 10 laps all told in the whole damn game. Like,
I haven't even done 10.
of wet run.
I'm not.
You tried to do a practice race, so you got taken out.
Yeah.
I'm not confident on my pace, but I'm confident I can stay on the track if it rains. So
I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think it will be. Will we have another winner? I think we might have another winner. I think it will be 4 from 4.
Will we have a safety car?
no, I will tell you that now. Now we won't. Oh no, no, we might.
I've seen a safety car in the practice races at China, so it can happen.
I make this excuse all the time, but it's the return of a certain glitch master.
Yeah, Adventures Mackin might be driving this season. Well, this race he's been missing. He's a very quick driver himself, actually, and he will add things to it. He'll add definitely layers to this season if he
He'll add
can,
rain.
if he can race. He'll add rain.
And
He definitely does a touch me.
Mark had done pretty decent as well at in the D3 Bahrain race.
No,
Oh no, different guy.
different guy.
Oh, different guy, was it?
Don't worry, don't worry.
Ah.
Adventures Machine. Well, I don't know.
It's Mackin apparently.
Is his name.
I don't know.
Mackin. I've always said Mackin.
I always thought it was machine, but he couldn't fit the E in.
Yeah, but he's back as adding a bit of samba, as I put into the
Yeah.
pre-season. Our Brazilian driver, who isn't based in Brazil. He still lives in Peterborough, apparently. But he's very quick, very, very quick. So that'll add some layers. But I personally see a podium of. I don't know. I don't really know, actually. This is a really I think if Caesar's racing, I think Caesar might win this one. I just have a feeling he might win. And then you'll be on the podium. I think you'll get unlucky somewhere. I think you'll get some kind of weird thing happen. But I think you'll come third, and I think Raikkonen will come second.
I like China.
I want to see. Yeah, I know. I think. I don't know. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling that it won't go all to plan. There might be some changeable conditions.
It never does.
Yeah, I don't know. And I have a feeling that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there'll be many DNFs, but
No.
I think it will be chaotic.
I mean,
What's your-
personally think Raikkonen and Campbell will definitely be on the podium. But that third spot, I mean, it's a choice between Caesar. I think Tiggerby as well could go well.
Mm.
RJW if it all goes to plan. Yourself, Mark, if it all goes to plan. Toon, Dan. The who's who for third.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pick and mix, really, but I don't know. I think I'll get sixth. I'll have no pace, but there'll be 2 or 3 people in front that will be kind enough to mess each other up. So That will be around where I come, and normal service will resume, and Tom will beat me as he normally does. What's your predictions, RJ?
Oh, it's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those where you don't actually have a clue. I'm really in the dark on China. Um, uh, I'm
I
gonna
mean,
go.
you think China is going to be hard to predict? Wait till Baku and Monaco.
I'm very glad I'm not racing in that one. Um, I'll go with Raikkonen P1. Um, I'll go Campbell P2 and I don't know, J Cole P3.
Ooh, forgot about Jake, haven't we?
Yeah.
I didn't forget about him. I just figured that
Just don't think he's
he'd
very
be like
good.
I just think he'd be just off the podium.
Fair.
It's where he's been for most of the season so far. While he's getting used to
He's had
taking some of those assists off.
he's had
Not
three
all the
races
assists
now
because he
though.
still uses the racing line, but
It's not. I imagine it's not that bad round here. I
What,
imagine
turning it
it's not the
off?
worst. Yeah, around China. I
There
can't
are
imagine it's the worst yet.
there are a few places.
Uh, like the hairpin. That's as long as you'll just get that ingrained into your mind,
The
don't you?
hairpin's all right. It's the corner before, not it's the braking zone prior to that. At basically the
at the end of
first
the
one of
second sector split.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
not a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, because if you go slightly deep there, then you probably lose about a second, I guess, around that big old spoon thing.
Yep.
Hmm.
Oh, it's not just that. I mean, without traction control as well. I mean, if he clips any of those curbs, he could be going for a spin as well.
Uh, the curbs aren't too bad from my experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Compared to
I mean,
last game they were lethal.
yeah,
This one they seem a bit deader. Like you can run out wide as well off that spoon. Before, even if you ran out wide, sometimes the car would just do weird and wonderful things. But
yeah.
it's not so bad. It seems a bit friendlier this game.
The other corner's turn four. Um, the traction out there is a nightmare. Um,
Hmm.
you literally have to be in a straight line, otherwise you're spinning. So essentially you have to go deep down into the left hand of turn three to have any chance of getting a run out of turn four.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Actually, I've noticed that. I've noticed that even just fiddling around in practice on time trial, doing the line that feels slower actually works out quicker.
Mm.
Like you feel way slower going deep out of that corner to go back into it. But then the amount of time you pick up on exits is pretty intense. So
Mm.
I've also noticed as well that is a bit more lenient on track extensions this year to last year's game.
what? Yeah, yeah,
Like the
you
final
can go
corner,
wide.
you can
Yeah,
kind of cut that a bit more than what you could in the last game, and you can also like push it out a bit
But
more wider on the exit as well compared to the last game.
I do feel like the curb on the final corner is actually one place where it seems a bit worse than last game because I spin
yeah, I've
there a
lost it.
lot.
Yeah,
That's another area where people could lose their back end and spin it.
Yeah.
and the pit lane. The pit lane, although it's not as bad now that it's no gravel on it, like compared to Hamilton back
Although
in
I was
2000.
about to say who's going to do a Hamilton.
although I have done it in the past where I've clipped the inside wall, got turned around and been disqualified.
Yeah, and following someone into there is actually really sketchy too.
Yeah.
You don't want to be following in anyone because you can. Well, there's two places to smash into the back rather than one,
Yeah.
and that's a horrible. It's it's blind as well. It's just a bunch of tires, isn't it? It's not like a corner. It's just like a perfect L shape that you don't really anticipate. So someone's not going to practice their pit entry,
Sarja
um,
or
and they'll
Lucas
do
because he
something.
hasn't played for 4 weeks.
I still want Sarja and Starja to be on the same team.
Won't happen this season. I have that feeling.
I want them to have a
want,
battle. They haven't really had a battle yet, have they? So
Um,
I
they
want a
were.
mid-season driver transfer.
I don't think they have. Have they? They haven't had a
They
battle.
were side by side on the grid somewhere.
Hmm.
I can't remember where.
Hmm. Right. Any last thoughts on China?
Uh, GG no re. I'll see you next week on the top step of the podium. I didn't predict it for myself, but just so you know.
See? If you're gonna predict you're gonna win, you've got to go absolutely all out and just start slating everyone. And gonna win.
I'm not that kind of guy though, Mark.
Ah.
I mean, Sarge is a
And,
different question.
and if you want to crush someone else's dreams, just say the D3 version of Mark.
You'll be. I hope to be around for the D3 podcast. So that's a good one. There's plenty to talk about in that as well.
No, it's not.
There's loads. There's loads and loads. But hopefully, hopefully Ghost can make that later. But yeah, no, this has been a fun one. I've been looking forward to this one. I'm not gonna lie. But this might be the highlight of my season. I'll be honest.
Highlight of career.
Probably. Probably.
Overtakes Monza now.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is not up for most shocking moment of the year at the end of the season, I don't know what will be.
I don't. Yeah, I think it would have to be. Oh, I don't know. I think it'd have to be a Nibbo podium
Or
or
Sarja
like a
winning.
Sarja winning, or I think like a V5 podium, D1, maybe someone around that kind of,
Yeah.
or Harry losing it on the last lap or something. Something like like a 30-second lead, like Senna in Monaco. It'd have to be something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we'll wrap this one up. We'll see everyone in China, and hopefully it stays dry.